Okay, this is my second attempt at actually recording proof of concept for the sequence break. On my first attempt I messed something up and I'm gonna try and find out what it was. But let's pretend we're done with Groundbreaker. This save is a little scuffed. I didn't do all companions quests and everything, but I haven't spoken to Wells yet, informing him that I have an F key. I spoke with Udom, and he gave me access to Adjutant Akande's landing pad. And what we would usually do here after Groundbreaker is travel to Adjutant Akande's landing pad.
We are now in orbit.
Ellie would usually be here and we accept her request, then we exit the ship with Ellie. And we're gonna keep doing that. But what we will do for the first part of Byzantium 1 here is actually do the any percent strats.
Alright, you're clear.
So one thing I already figured out that is that it's important that you don't speak to Percival here. If you speak to Percival here and begin the quest line that starts with completing Puppet Masters, the sequence break will not work. Because I think the game already considers you acquainted with Sophia Akande, and the alternative quest trigger won't fire that we abuse. Okay, any percent strats, go to the terminal. Go down the elevator. I'm actually gonna pick 2 perks here just to make the chemical lab easier. Okay. Head straight for the chemical lab, the Ministry of Accuracy and Morale. And normal stuff, just like in the current Maxquest route or any percent. Keep in mind though that this will be a little bit easier than on any percent, because we will be level 8 or 10 or something. A little bit higher than on any percent, but a lot harder than in Maxquest currently, because we used to do this stuff so much later. I don't think the reputation hit here matters. Yeah, it should. Gonna do a hard save here because I want to test later whether it matters for dialogue how much of the chemicals you steal. Yoink that. Up the elevator we go. Fast travel to the Acropolis district, just because I think it's faster than running. And now just continue with normal Byzantium strats. Go to Ali's parents, do that part, discover the estates, fast travel point. Speak to Hortense for the retirement quest. Speak to this guy for the spread quest and enter the Bureau of Exploration. Yoink the revolver here if you like to use the revolver. Speak to Alonso for the beacon quest. And now, even though we don't have the quest yet for Demolished Woman, we should be able to loot the documents. Yeah, we are. Fast travel back down. Yeah, usually we would steal the weapon here, the flame grenade launcher if you want, pick up the first beacon and pick up the audition quest from Maverick. We are not going to do that here. So usually I think we would now fast travel to the ship, maybe speak to Parvati, because it's always good to speak to Parvati, but I think it's enough to speak to Parvati once more when you land on Monarch, and she should give you the quest for Casserole. Now we're gonna get this message from Akande. This is triggered by us having stolen the chemicals. And because the game doesn't consider us acquainted with Sophia Akande, it triggers here because it thinks we're much later on in the story and we're actually going to get the long distance quest that we would usually only get if we finish the Demolished Woman. Puppet Masters and the Demolished Woman. I think the next step is long distance. So usually we would travel to Monarch now and do all the Monarch stuff. Instead we're going to do our first visit to Phineas' lab here.
We have successfully arrived at Phineas's orbital lab, Captain, and we are...
And my idea is that we only talk to the terminal here. You can turn the chemicals in here, and I don't think it should matter. I'm going to test that though and make another hard save. Because it's optimal the first time you go just to the terminal, and then the second time we will only need one more visit, so 2 in total, just like we used to. We're gonna speak to Phineas about 2 different topics. So I'm gonna do a hard save, send the tracking signal.
Back for our rest.
And Akande is gonna talk to us again.
Your signal, mate. Come visit me in Byzantium.
And we're supposed to visit her in Byzantium, speak to Sophia. We still haven't informed Dr. Wells that we have a nav key, and we haven't actually met Sophia Akande yet. So we're gonna travel back to the adjutant's landing pad, go to HHC building, and I'm gonna make another hard save here because this can go wrong. If you do the wrong order of dialogue here, you will actually softlock your quest progression basically. So I'm gonna try talking to Akande first here. The last time I did this, she actually wanted to send me to Edgewater right away, and I don't know why.
That said, he's also halcyon. Malnutrition is already... I know this must come as a surprise.
Yeah, she still gives
Edgewater
me...
needs to go. You were in the Emerald Village. In fact, what? Report. Get rid of Edgewater.
That shouldn't happen. Maybe I need to talk to Percival first here?
I see you haven't been shot to pieces by the guards.
No thanks. Lockwood has, at the very least,
Adjutant Akande.
This is a problem. This didn't happen the last time I tried this.
You've done well. There has been a surge.
Oh, okay. This is the correct. This is the correct order. Okay, let me try that again. I think you can talk to Percival first.
I see you have...
You finish the Puppet Master's quest and gain the Demolished Woman. We already did the documents. We're gonna do Rachel Lockwood the way we always have. Then you talk to Akande.
Wells may have been a delusion.
And then you gain the yeah, then you gain the signal point in Space Quest.
I look forward to news.
Huh, it's so weird that it works that way.
I'll answer the help. A famine is one of Auntie Cleo's. The solution, and you deliver. We have become lazy. Do you? Thanks, Ed.
Okay, and you can already get the Foundation quest here. I'm thinking whether we should or not, because that might break something down the line. It's super weird though. We now have the Demolished Woman quest, which is supposed to be the first quest we do for Sophia. We already finished No, we didn't actually finish the long distance quest yet, because we need to speak to Percival one more time for that. We already have Signal Point in space, and we have Foundation. So this is why I said it's a little bit weird to wrap your head around. We're gonna speak to Percival one more time to finish long distance.
Do let me know.
Now we can speak to him
Apologies for the wait.
I don't think we have to speak to him one more time, do we? Yeah, that finishes long distance. And we have the Signal Point in Space quest for Stellar Bay. And we already have Foundation. You know what? That could be useful. I'm gonna keep it like this, because that could mean that we can do Foundation, or maybe the first part of Foundation, while we're at Geothermal anyways, for Nyoka. Yeah, that could be good. But for now, let's concentrate on Signal Point in Space. So what we would do now is the same thing we have been doing. And go to Monarch, Signal Point in Space. Go to Stellar Bay. Phineas should come up here. Yeah, this is important as well. You can just one mash here, but if you dodge the conversation with Phineas here, you can't actually complete Radio Free Monarch. So this is important. So now we're at the point where we have Radio Free Monarch and Signal Point in Space on our first visit to Monarch, which is pretty cool. And we can still do the Demolished Woman at a later point, because that would be annoying. I originally thought this would only be possible if we did the Demolished Woman, kind of did it the normal way, but then you have to do an extra visit to the maintenance tunnels, and you have to do an extra visit to Phineas' lab. This is gonna be totally inefficient. This way, we only visited Phineas' lab once, and we visited HHC 2 or 3 times. We're gonna have to go to HHC one more time, but we should be able to turn in all our Sophia quests then. Let's keep an eye out for that. I think this should work. And just to keep this video a little bit shorter, I'm just gonna kill Graham and what's his face, Sanjar. I have a pretty high tinker shock stick. Doesn't one-shot him though. Usually we would do all the stuff. Monarch essentially is completely unchanged by this. Let's beam our way over to... This is Amber Heights, right? Yeah. I'm gonna do a quick save here because the Iconoclast can really fuck you up.
Romantically.
Fuck you, Graham. And now we go to Devil's Peak. Where's the entrance? Oh, this is the correct entrance at the top, right? Did that work? Sometimes I can't tell if my teleport has worked. And if I disable the debug camera, I will end up being at the same place where I was originally. Hey, I wanna teleport. I wanna teleport right here. Or right here. Let me teleport, please. Fuck. Oh, I'm here. Okay. It obviously doesn't matter whether you do Devil's Peak skip or not. Doing it is obviously faster, but messing it up it might not be. I'm gonna time it and see how good my accuracy is. I get really bad at Devil's Peak skip. Okay, gonna do another hard save here. So this dialogue now is a little bit more complicated. The first thing I would do is you will have Nyoka with you, ask him for Nyoka's favor, and telling him run the station is your job.
I merely need you to walk.
Now you speak to him again and tell him to shut down all illegal interplanetary broadcasts.
In fact, you're doing when that day arrives. Excellent. But we've already.
Okay, now we should be at the point in both quests. Single point in space, jumpstart the tower.
Have some information for. Is that? Ask me what you will.
I'm a little confused by the... Why is Radio Free Monarch not working? But it doesn't really matter because you can do a backup thread here. Or maybe you can't. Let's just see if it worked out. I know that it's possible to transmit both his and Sophia's shit. Let's just see what happens when we... Okay. Okay, that worked. Cool. So now we have finished Signal Point in Space. We just need to turn it in. We have finished Radio Free Monarch. We just need to turn that in. And let me just check the notes real quick. So usually what we would do is Stella Bay, Stella Bay, Stella Bay. And then the relay. After we've done Cannon's Cradle, obviously. We're not going to do that here because it doesn't matter for the main story. And we would do relay BG23, then go to Roseway, and at the end of Roseway we would go to Phineas for the first time. And I think we should do that here as well. Just this time it will be the second and last time. So let's pretend we're done with Kenneth's Cradle, done with the relay, done with Roseway. And now we go to Phineas' lab for the second time.
We've arrived at Phineas's orbital lab.
Don't forget to pick up the science weapon. Gonna make another hard save here because I had some wonky stuff happen here. So the first thing that will happen here, because I think it has just precedence, is he will speak as if we have already spoken about yoinking the chemicals. So we're gonna just smash through this like we normally would. I know you're wondering why I'm doing all this.
Why I'm doing all this. Why I believe the people on the Hope are the answer to the colony's problems. The board would have us believe Halcyon is beyond.
So now we've finished. Did we finish anything? No, we didn't actually finish the quest for the chemical stuff. That is the stuff that happens next. Now speak to him one more time.
What's on your mind?
And he only wants to talk about the Hope, and then speak to him another time.
I'd clap you on the shoulder.
And now we actually finish Radio Free Monarch. And he gives us the next quest. City and the Stars. And now we're done with this. We travel back to the Unreliable, and what we would usually do here is we would travel to the Byzantium landing pad
Captain,
and speak with
we are now in orbit
Carmen,
of Byzantium,
I think is her
Captain.
name, and do the retirement quest line, and on our way out do the spreads and kill Rachel Lockwood. So the thing is, and this is where I thought my idea was broken. Carmen will not
The board's always watching.
speak to us because I assume we hit we flipped some switch in the background
The board's
because we
always
already have the chemicals. So she thinks we already spoke to each other, and I think it's optional to talk to her anyway. But yeah, that's where we're at in the City and the Stars. So usually we'd go into the retirement center here for Hortense and do this quest. We're not gonna do that. Instead, I'm gonna pretend we're done with the retirement quest. And we're coming out of the maintenance tunnels, and I'm gonna kill Rachel Lockwood real quick.
Out with it, you wretched
I just want to see if everything would work in the same order that we usually do it. Yeah, Rachel's here. We kill her. We don't actually have to loot her, right? Because it's only her key and we don't need her key anymore. We would obviously normally take all the spreads and stuff. I'm gonna do that here. Exit sewer, turn in the spread quest to Giles, and then we would go to Celeste and put on our stuff, give her the items, and then we will fast travel back here to HBS to get both parcels. I'm only gonna get one parcel here, but it's the same thing. The Celeste parcel isn't pick-upable yet, which makes sense because as soon as you have it, she will actually get killed, and the quest wouldn't make much sense if you pick up a parcel without knowing whose it is and then go to her and she's been killed and you have no context. Minister Clark's parcel is here though, which is great. And I originally thought that this wouldn't work because since I don't know what her name is, the Phineas contact wouldn't speak to us. I assumed that Minister Clark, I think is his name, wouldn't be here as well. But normally we would take the parcel back up here and oh no, she's been killed, loot that. Then depending on the order that you like to do stuff in, do the audition first or go to the house of Minister Clark. Yeah.
You must be joking. Out there.
And we can see the quest has updated, the optional step has updated from the City and the Stars, but the first step still says meet with Phineas contact, so it looks like the quest is completely bugged. But lo and behold, Minister Clark is here. I'm gonna save here just for so I can do some testing. We're gonna speak to him. The City and the Stars will update, and what's actually gonna happen is meet with Phineas contact will be ticked, retrieve the minister's package from HPS will be ticked, investigate the chairman's office will be ticked, retrieve the dimethyl sulfoxide will be ticked, and return to Phineas will be ticked as well. So essentially, since we already have kept secret but not forgotten from Phineas, we don't have to go to Phineas at all, and the quest counts as completed, which is great. So now we still have the signal point in space quest, where we have to go to HHC. We have the Demolished Woman quest where we have to go to HHC. And we have the Lying Earth task from the Minister where we have to go to HHC. But since we also have the Foundation quest right now, we don't actually have to go to HHC right now because we already have the Foundation quest. This is what we would usually do if I remember correctly. Let me check the Yeah, usually we would now go to HHC, hand in the quest to Possible, start the new quest, get the door open, watch the video, send the message, go to the Acropolis, steal the chems, go to Phineas, bug Phineas, talk to Phineas, finish the city and the stars. Then we would go to Groundbreaker, to HRS, to the Promenade, and then we would go to HHC again and combine this with the quest for Sublight and pick up a new quest, Single Point in Space. Then we would usually go to Monarch and do Single Point in Space, and then we would come back to Byzantium at some point and talk to Alonso, turn in All Hells in a Day, and turn in Single Point in Space and accept Foundation. And we don't have to do any of that. We don't have to go to HHC. We only have to go to HHC one more time, namely after we do Foundation. And the great thing about Foundation as well is we can combine it a little better, I think, with Nyoka. The first part of Foundation, and the second part of Foundation obviously doesn't matter because of fast travel points. So just as a proof of concept, I'm gonna go through it now and do Edgewater 3, or what used to be Edgewater 3 in any percent.
We are now in orbit above Edgewater.
Just to see if there's some case where it breaks. Do I have enough dialogue stats? No, I don't. I think it's lie. Pretty sure it's lie. So the only question remains whether the game will actually let us turn in all the quests. And if so, whether or not we have to abide by a certain order for it to work. So, let's bug this. Or rather execute the termination protocol. I actually don't have a good weapon. Well, the shock stick should work fine for the automech genocide. Let me check that I'm actually recording. Oh fuck, this is taking half an hour. Yeah, as I said, it's a little bit hard to work it all out. So I wanted to make a video so you can see for yourself. Oh, it's actually one shot's neat. This is obviously because I've tinkered to level 35 and my character has all the perks, I think. Fuck you. I still should have triggered Ludwig, I think. Is that all? Did I miss one? No, I didn't. Okay, I'm out of combat. Okay, if we can turn in the quest now, that would be super optimal. I mean, if we could turn in all quests now, that would be perfect. Otherwise, we might need to not pick up Foundation. Let's make a hard save here. And let's try turning in Lockwood's quest.
So it's done. You've done. Wells had to be in touch with you somehow.
As instructed.
So, now the game actually gave me the what's the name of the quest? The cutscene played for Sophia telling me to bug Phineas, but we already did that, and if I remember correctly, yeah, we already finished that quest. We also turned in the Demolished Woman. Now Foundation and Single Point in Space are left, and I'm curious what the game will do when we talk to her.
I've just been informed that the problem of Edgewater.
Okay.
Once the hope is in.
It gives us.
I've just finished reading.
And it lets us finish.
Your work.
Nice.
Now,
oops, actually.
Good afternoon.
Yep.
I know this must come as a. I don't. Once the hope is.
Okay. It repeats some dialogue because the game is completely freaked out. But I'm absolutely astonished that the game doesn't crash. It handles the whole thing just fine. So now we finished with very few trips. We finished the City and the Stars, Radio Free Monarch, Foundation, Signal Point in Space, Passage to not Passage to Anywhere, The Demolished Woman, Long Distance, and the Puppet Masters. And the only thing left to do, which I almost forgot, is to go to the terminal one more time and send Minister Clark's message to Earth to finish the Lying Earth. Holy shit, I think this is gonna work out. And I think it's gonna be a better way to do it. Yeah, let me know what you think. And I hope I explained it, or at least showed it, so it was understandable.